Good morning, my friends. It is 9:45 on the AM dial, and you know what that means? It's time for, well, it's Water with Jen. Java with Jen. That's right. This is my LinkedIn Live show where each week I invite experts to come on and give us some new tools, tricks, strategies, tactics, thinking. And because I'm bringing on Jess, I'm going to talk about and thought leadership around topics that impact all of us as leaders. If we haven't met, your first time tuning in, welcome. My name's Jen Koch, and I'm your favorite executive leadership coach. I specifically work with women in STEM and other male-saturated industries to help you lead authentically, inspire your team, and leave a legacy you can be proud of. My book just came out a couple months ago. It's been in the top books for professional development, career advancement. Shameless plug, please buy my book. You won't be sorry. This week, today, in the last couple weeks, I've had the wonderful opportunity to be with Jess Sato, and Jess is a business growth and visibility strategist. She specifically works with high achieving women who are impact driven. They're entrepreneurs, they're business leaders, and she works with them using her signature BOLT framework to identify how to take their thought leadership and turn it into successful visibility strategies for both the businesses they run, but also inside organizations. She mostly works with entrepreneurs, but because our work dovetails so much, and because in the work that I do with all of you and the Executive Presence Accelerator, we're consistently thinking about legacy and how do I do that now? I wanted to bring Jess in, so I'm going to bring her in now. Bit, 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 boom. Here we go. Jessica, there you are. Hello. Ooh, look at that today. The red is great. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. Probably needed more coffee this morning, but I can't complain because it's 7:45 where you are, and
Correct.
like that.
Correct.
Yes. So thank you so much for being here. This is the third part of a series with Jess. The first one we talked about what is a big idea. Last week we said, okay, well, I've got it. Now what?
Yep.
And today, and there's just something specific that you said to me because we, of course, talked back in May about like, okay, well, what do we want to talk about on these conversations? And you said something really interesting. You said you work with a lot of women. I didn't realize this, who feel stuck or scattered.
Mm.
And so tonight, tonight, my God, hold on.
Get some coffee, girl.
Lord have mercy. Help me, help me.
Oh.
Why brilliant women get stuck and how to
Mhm,
unstick yourself and why, and because you address this fragmentation and
mhm,
fatigue high achieving women feel. So you work with these successful women that feel stuck or scattered. Why do you think that happens? And what is the fix in your mind?
Okay. Gosh. How much time do we have? Okay.
Well, this
Um,
is just an amuse bouche. Remember, everybody, this
it
is,
is.
yeah, you can join Jess and I live in whatever, June
Yeah.
25th. I don't even know what day of the week. It's a Wednesday. I know that. I don't know what the date is. But June 25th, we'll be together for an hour unpacking all of this.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
register. I'll put the link to register in the comments when we're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We really only have 10 minutes is my answer. 8 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I find that women, especially who are really passionate about something, right? So we've talked a lot about the big idea, and most of the women that we're going to be working with sort of fall into two camps. One is that these are women who have deep expertise. They have been around the block, they know how to lead businesses, run businesses, etc. So they have just such a rich depth that they can be pulling from. And a lot of times they feel stuck or scattered because of that expertise. So in this case, it's like, yes, amazing that you're an expert. And you probably need some help really thinking through like what's that core through line that allows you to speak to all these different areas of expertise. So I find that more often than not, because women have such longevity in their careers, they and such fullness that they can bring, there's a sort of a tension between like I could talk about anything, I can help you with anything, I can serve in lots of different ways, and so that over expertise tends to create actually a barrier where they feel stuck, or it's like I can help you here, 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 and so there's that scattered feeling. That's one. I find the other one is that people feel stuck because they have a tendency to minimize their own expertise, right? So it's
Yeah.
the opposite problem where, I know not too long ago, we did this whole session on executive presence. And one of the things we talked a lot about is how women tend to minimize. And this goes very much to how we tend to minimize our words, our thought leadership, et cetera. And because of that, we downplay our expertise and we think, oh, well, I don't really have much to contribute. And so there's this weird barrier or stuck feeling that happens in that space. And so, really trying to help figure out, okay, well, which camp are you in? You know,
Yeah.
are you in this? I'm like, I know my stuff, but I like everything feels all over the map. Okay, well, we need to fix that by finding the through line. If you're in the other camp of like minimizing and thinking, okay, yeah, I mean, this is not that new, this is not that, whatever, then we need to figure out how to help you see the unique value and the unique perspective that you bring. So there's sort of two different problems, but they all come back to when we're clear on what that big idea is and why you are uniquely suited to being the one to talk about it and bring that forward from a thought leader perspective, then all of a sudden that's where the magic really starts to come to play.
Okay. So I was also, kind of mapping this on middle managers
Mm,
or individual contributors who are looking to rise up in a company. And one of the things I was thinking about, and this is something my clients talk about all the time, is burnout because they're trying to
mhm.
be everything to everybody. It's like that
Yep.
movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's like they're trying to
Yes.
be everything to everybody
Yes.
all at once. And then you have the whole piece of balancing. Am I going to have kids? Do I have them now or later? Or what is
Mhm.
that going to look like? Because nobody wants to have their
Mhm.
life be about work
Yeah,
24/7.
totally.
So when you're in that moment of feeling scattered, how do I, as a middle manager, rising leader, but still a high
Mhm.
performer,
Yep.
identify I don't have that expertise, but I still feel scattered because I feel at the effect of what everybody's asking me to do, and I really haven't had time
Yeah.
to find my lane because I'm consistently being asked to do more and more and more and more and more. Any
Yeah.
thoughts about that?
Yeah. I mean, I want to honor, I think it was maybe our first session, we talked about that sort of tensiony space between, early career, sweet, C-suite level. There is a lot of tension in that, middle range of the career. So I have a lot of appreciation for feeling pulled in a lot of directions. And I would say the same thing as I to an entrepreneur as I would to a leader in that space, which is, you know, there's this tension of like feeling like I have to do more to your point. And actually, sometimes we actually have to slow down in order to speed up. Right,
Ooh,
that's a common phrase, but I think there's a lot of validity to it because our tendency is to just do, and
yes.
try to cram it in and overfunction, et cetera, and we're very good at that. But the reality is, to me, we have to get back to the core. So we push the pause button to the extent we can, and we get back to, okay, what is it that I am doing here? What is, it doesn't have to be these like deep existential questions, but I do think you need to be clear on like what is the sort of larger purpose to the work that you're doing? What is your perspective and why do you want to share that? Where is the trajectory that you're trying to go? And when you know those things, then all of a sudden you start to make very aligned decisions.
Mm,
And to me, alignment is the strategy, right? When we are operating all over the map, whether we're scattered, whether we're minimizing, whether we're over functioning, if we scale that down for just a second and figure out, okay, what's the most important thing that has to happen? And we lay it all out, recognizing, like, yeah, most of these things do have to happen, but they don't all have to happen at once. Then we can make our decisions from an aligned place. And that to me is some of the most powerful stuff that we can do, right? Because we're
yeah.
not all over the map anymore. Now we're straight ahead.
Yeah. So when you came into the program to do the presentation for the women who are in this first cohort, and you'll remember Cindy, who was in there,
Yeah.
one of the things she chose to do was to ask for more responsibility. And she
Mhm.
got the opportunity to do that and then sat down with her boss and her boss's boss. And she said it was hilarious because it was almost like the guys were trying to, talking over her. And finally she's like, can I talk? And her boss's boss goes, "Oh, your boss is just trying to be your lawyer." She said she didn't take any of it personally. She knew part of her vision was, I mean, she might not want to go to she doesn't necessarily want to go to the C-suite, but she's right in that senior leadership piece. And she knew she wanted to take on some more high visibility projects. And so it
Mhm.
was directly from the stuff that you did. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Yeah, it's really, really
I
great.
mean, you're speaking to this really fundamental thing. We have, as women, I think we've been really rewarded for over functioning. And so the result of that is a lot of burnout. But if we can really get back onto sort of this aligned path, and I get it. Like a lot of people are like, oh, alignment, that's very frou-frou. But the reality is now Cindy is able to go into that meeting. She's clear on what she's trying to do, or at least what she's trying to do in this next phase. And because of that, she makes strategic decisions. So
Yep.
that's when I say, when I say alignment is the strategy, or strategy, the strategy is alignment, I really do mean that, because it does have a little bit of a forcing function to get you doing things in an order and in a way that actually makes sense. And the same is true for business owners, right?
Yep.
All the stuff that you're doing in your business now all of a sudden slots into place in a very, very different way.
In a very different way. Absolutely. All right. So if you're a business owner, if you're a leader, and you are tired of being the overqualified, under-recognized woman in the room, this conversation is your wake-up call, my friends. And the Empowering Expert Series is your next step. Come spend an hour with Jess and I, June 25th, 1 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Mountain. Let's get you unstuck for good, friends. That's the wake up call. All right. And join us next week. We have one more conversation with Jess. And let me just see, what did we say we're going to be talking about in that one? Ooh, well, it's perfect because we talked about alignment as the power
Mm,
strategy. That's the
yeah,
next one. What does that actually look like? We've touched
love
on
it.
it. Next week, we're going to talk about what it actually looks like. So until then, friends, ciao, ciao for now, and tune in next week at 9:45 a.m. with Jess and I right here on LinkedIn. Bye.